This clip is from my conversation with Scott Wilson, a former Microsoft executive and the current 3Cloud chief sales officer who turned one of the worst financial failures of his life into a playbook for fixing broken sales cultures, managing corporate politics, and building a career you actually enjoy.
I've said this before, and it was actually a quote that my wife found just a few months ago, actually. And it said something like, my track record says it will be okay. Something like that. I slaughtered it. But that gives me a huge amount of comfort when I'm looking at something that's difficult and hard. Yep, it's going to be difficult and hard. But guess what? There's not been a single thing that's been difficult and hard in my life that I haven't found a way through, that I haven't made it through. I'm here. I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty healthy, and we've made it through. And so I just take that approach that whatever's next, because life will continue to throw stuff at us, whatever it is, I'll figure it out, because I always have. And all of us have. We're all here because we've all figured it out.
It's true. Yeah.
And that doesn't mean we wish we hadn't had to gone through some of the stuff we had to figure out.
Yeah.
But we've all figured it out. So why not trust that we'll figure out the next thing or the current thing or the last thing? So.
Yeah. I also like this idea that you were talking about of just realizing, I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit, but essentially not worrying about stuff that hasn't happened yet. You know, like there's a risk that's coming down the road. Okay, well, you know, I only have so many cycles I can waste on this. So yeah, it might happen, it might not, but we'll make a plan for it maybe, and then see what we can do.
That's a huge part of my life, by the way, is not worrying about what hasn't happened yet. And my experience has been this. Someone brings something to me today that's a potential problem,
okay,
that's likely going to play out somehow, some way. Almost 100% of the time, what ends up playing out, if something does at all, is not what he thought it was the hour, the day, the week, the month before. It's never, the reality of what actually happens is never what we really assumed might happen. And so spending all the cycles in between what we think might happen to where we get to what actually happens is such wasted time and energy, because what actually ends up being in front of us that we have to tackle is something different. It's something unique. And it's not at all what we just spent the last amount of cycles worrying about. And so I try, not perfect at it, but I try not to worry about it until I actually have to worry about it. Because I know, again, I can figure it out, whatever it is, and I can do it better when I actually am dealing with the facts as opposed to a bunch of assumptions.
Let's say I come to you and I'm like, Scott, I'm worried about this thing. I think we have 3 different potential outcomes. Here's what I think it's going to look like. You look at that and you're like, okay, I'm not going to worry about that. When does whatever risk that's brought to you become enough of a reality that you know that it's time to take action? Is there a tipping point, or is it one of those things that you have to, I don't know, address is situation specific?
I think it's situation specific, but you bring something up that's actually interesting as well. Because Jeff, if you brought me something and said, this is what I think is going to happen, or this is what's happening, and here's how I think this could play out, or here's our 3 options. One of the things that I'm trying to understand is this something that I need to actually worry about and do something about? Or is there an opportunity in the moment for you and I to have a conversation and for me to provide my insights and my thoughts around the situation? You're, in this case, already bringing 3 potential solutions and whatnot. Because in back of my mind, I'm going, is this a me problem now? Or is this actually on Jeff's plate? Not Jeff's problem, but is this on your plate? Because again, if it's on your plate, I'm not going to take it off your plate and make it my problem unless I need to do that. And if that's what you're asking me to do, and if that's what I have to do, then I'm more than happy to do that. But what I'm not going to do, hopefully, consciously, I'm not going to take a problem that is yours to solve and make it mine. Just because it's your problem and it's a 5-alarm fire for you, I'm here to help support you in that 5-alarm fire, but it doesn't have to be mine necessarily, unless it does need to be mine. And then I'm happy to jump in the fire with you. But by letting people manage their own crises or their own situations and supporting them and giving you, in this case, or my team, my confidence and trust that you can solve this and you've got my support, and I appreciate what you've brought me. That sounds like a great way to solve it. Let me know how else I can help you solve that. And then I don't take that on as mine. Can't always do that, but I've seen it before where people make other people's problems theirs, and then they feel like they have to solve it, when most of the time the people that are coming with those challenges don't want you to solve it. They want the opportunity to take care of it. They're just looking for either some support, some advice, some insight, some motivation, but they're not asking you to take that on.
I like that approach. I'm reading a little between the lines here, because not only are you freeing yourself up, you're not taking on burdens that aren't yours, but you're not depriving someone on your team from the opportunity to build that muscle that they need to develop the strength and confidence or skills or whatever it is to be able to solve that problem on their own, because they're going to need those at some point themselves. And so it's really the best thing for them.
Absolutely. And again, my approach, I want my team to be successful. I want to be able to hold up these flags of, look at what Matt did, look at what John did, look at what Kevin did. And I, as their manager, I don't need to take credit for those things. The credit I'm going to take is the fact that I've supported them and given them an environment where they can be successful. And if my manager sees that and gets that, then that's all that I care about. But I don't need their success and what they've done to be mine. And so I genuinely want them to be successful. And in that, they then trust to bring things to me that we can strategize and work on together that become. It's the exact same situation for me in raising my kids, my daughter and my 3 boys. I need them to work their way through and find success if they're going to be responsible adults someday, because that's what you have to do as a responsible adult. Hopefully that's worked okay.
I like that. This is a random Microsoft connection. But did you ever know Scott Price? He was the GM of Public Sector National Security Group by chance?
I don't think so.
I was working in DC at the time, and I'd had my first daughter, and I didn't know what was going on. So I'd ask people like, hey, you have any parenting advice? I really love this word of wisdom from Scott Price. He's just like, look, parent for independence. He's like, the only piece of advice that I got that was worthwhile is parent for independence. And that's the only piece I'll share with you. And I was like, that's a really good piece of advice. Yeah. And it's what what you just said. Yeah. You ultimately want your kids to be independent and successful. And Scott, I'm sending this to you. You should listen to Scott Price, listen to this podcast. And anyway, so from the words of 2 Scotts now,
there you go.
It's solid.
It must be true.
It's got to be. It has to be. Yeah. Okay. So let's pivot a little bit. What did you do after you left Microsoft?
So left Microsoft, had the opportunity to connect up with a company called 3 Pillar Global, 200 million app dev company, been around 14, 15 years, grown by acquisition, owned by private equity. They hired me to be their chief revenue officer. So that was a new role for me, to have a little broader, besides just sales, take on revenue, had marketing, enablement, sales in a tough market. This was just right at just over 2 years ago when I took that role. Company struggled, difficult market, attrition of clients was pretty rough in that app dev space. I got to a point a year ago where I knew it was draining the life out of me. It was not a good fit. Been there about a year and a half. And on a Friday morning, the CEO and I were on a call, and it was mutually determined that I needed to move on. And so I walked out of my home office and around the corner into our bedroom and found my wife and said, by the way, just quit my job. She didn't know. She knew it'd been tough and I hadn't been happy. And after a couple of minutes of saying, are we going to be okay? She says, well, what if you just don't take a job for the next year? And we just spend some time together, and we travel, and we see friends, and we see family, and we just do us. And that sounds like a fabulous idea, because I was a horrible potential candidate for anyone at that point. And so we spent the next almost 9 months pretending to be retired. And it was the most amazing thing. And again, following my story, this is in this 2-year window of when my wife and I are in this phenomenal place together. And so we just had an incredible time. It was in January, February timeframe. I got a call from someone at 3Cloud, started to have a few conversations with them. They'd just gone through the acquisition by Cognizant, and we started talking with the 2 founders and determined that they would love to have me come take on their sales org. It wasn't even a position that was currently posted. So they fast tracked the hiring for that role. It was on the roadmap, just not yet.
This was a short clip from the 4Fs podcast, where I sit down with founders, veterans, and executives, world-class experts that you won't hear on every other show, to talk about leadership, entrepreneurship, and personal reinvention. For the full conversation and more context, tap the link in the description or search 4Fs podcast on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. And if you're enjoying these shorter episodes, make sure to follow along so you don't miss tomorrow's clip.
Welcome to the 4Fs with Jeff.